After the first week of free agency, the biggest position of need for your New England Patriots remains the same. Which one? Stick around. You're about to be locked in to the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful. Thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage. Subscribe to Locked On Patriots or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts to make sure that you get the latest episode as soon as it's available. I'm your host, Mike Debate. I cover your New England Patriots for Patriots Country of Sports Illustrated. So reach out to me and let me know what's on your mind on Twitter at MDABATENFL. While you're out there showing some love to the Twitterverse, please be sure to follow the Locked On Patriots account as well at LO_Patriots. Pats fans, today's episode is brought to you by Ultimate Football GM. If you've ever dreamed of becoming an NFL GM and managing your football franchise, this game is definitely for you. To download the game, just visit ultimate-gm.com or look up on the app stores. Our listeners get a 100% free boost to their franchise when using the promo code LOCKEDON in all caps in the game. Patriots fans, thank you for taking time out today to bring the week in style here on Locked On Patriots. Hope you all had an amazing weekend with 1 week of free agent additions and subtractions under their belt. The New England Patriots had a hell of a week, but they're still looking for ways to improve their team. Free agency far from being over. The trade market is still a possibility, and we're going to give the trade market its just attention this week. But today is the return of hashtag Locked On Murph Monday and hashtag Mock Draft Monday. And that's right, folks. Joining me each and every Monday, as he always does, is the only man with that very own branded hashtag, the Green King of Sting, Thomas Murphy of E2G Sports. And we have a pair of intriguing mock drafts for you today, focusing on players at the past biggest positions of need when it comes to the draft. Patriots still have a lot of positions of need to fill out there, but here is where we're thinking the Patriots are going to be focusing their energy when it comes to the upcoming NFL draft. Now, I know a lot of you, myself included, believe that the Patriots still need a strong presence on the perimeter at wide receiver. I like the addition of Juju Smith-Schuster a lot, but the Patriots are still lacking that true perimeter threat that other teams need to game plan to stop. I think they're going to get that player, but I think they do that either by free agency or by the trade market. High-level draft capital in order to bring in someone that is going to have an immediate impact. And I think the class right now, this draft class, is a little deeper at these three positions, and I could see them even using as high as pick 14 on any of these positions. So let's get right into it, folks. We start with the tight end position. And no, I don't think the Patriots need a tight end more than they need a wide receiver in 2023. This is more of a future projection because, as my partner in crime, Claire Cooper, has said several times here on these airwaves, this is one of the deepest tight end classes that we've seen in quite a while. Patriots, in my opinion, need to strike, and especially considering that neither Hunter Henry nor new addition Mike Gesicki are under contract beyond 2023. Patriots need to look to the future, and they can do it with some very solid players. Now, Michael Mayer, Luke Musgrave, those guys are probably going to go before number 14 hits. At least we think so. Tight ends can drop sometimes in draft boards because of the fact that other teams are filling drastic positions of need. Tight end might not be at the top of a lot of these teams' lists, but right now in a lot of mock drafts, we're seeing those two go off the board. I don't know, Washington continues to really escalate through a lot of people's mock drafting. He's a possibility. Dalton Kincaid of the Utes, we've talked about him before here on the airwaves. Sam Laporta, Tucker Kraft, I think those two guys right now are very much in the Patriots pipeline, very much in their crosshairs. So it's going to be interesting to see if any of them end up New England Patriots. And I wouldn't say an outside shot, but maybe in a day two or Yeah, it's going to be a day 2 without any question. I don't think this guy's going to be day 1, but he's definitely not lasting to day 3. Zach Kuntz of Old Dominion is someone I think could be an option there as well. So when you look at New England, yeah, there's definitely a possibility that they could look at the tight end position. But coming in at number 2 is cornerback, for at least for my list anyway. And I do completely understand how a lot of you could have cornerback at the number 1 position, especially after the release of Jalen Mills. Patriots clearly have a need there. I think it's a valid argument to say cornerback is their biggest need. I appreciate the argument. You might be right at the end of the day. I'm certainly not going to tell you you're wrong, but this is, again, my opinion. The trio of Joneses, Jonathan, Marcus, and Jack, are all phenomenal players, and I like their ability, especially the 2 rookie Joneses, to project in this system, but they're all under 6 feet, as are Miles Bryant. I think it's going to be a little difficult for the Patriots to lay off some of the great corners that they have in this draft class. Christian Gonzalez, I think, is at the top of everybody's list when it comes to Oregon. He's got everything you want. 6'2", size, definitely the ability to play on so many different levels. This kid's going to be a star at the perimeter for years to come. I think he's off the board by the time the Patriots pick. They'd probably have to trade up to get him, and I'm not sure the Patriots are trading up at this point. So where does that leave you? Well, it leaves you with some very good consolation prizes potentially at number 14. Joey Porter Jr., Devin Witherspoon, there's a shot that they may be there at 14. I think that's stretching it a little bit too. Corner is always a high demand position. It's a high value position for those that are in need. And I think Porter and Witherspoon could be off the board. We've talked about someone like a Cam Smith from the Gamecocks. He might be an option. Kylie Ringo is actually someone that has really started to elevate through draft boards. Really did a great job with the Bulldogs last year. Want to talk about a solid perimeter option? This kid is it. Size definitely there. 6'2", 205 pounds. Battle tested all those years in the SEC, going against players at the University of Georgia. This kid could be someone to take a look at as well. And I've seen several projections that have him in the first round. So keep an eye on Kelly Ringo. He might be an option there as well. But ultimately, I do think that the past number 1 need, it's still the number 1 need, even after a week of free agent, is along the offensive line, especially at the tackle position. And that's not to say that I don't like the additions of Riley Reif and Calvin Anderson. I love them both. I think they're both great, solid moves. But Anderson is a swing option at best. He's going to add quality depth, but there's still a need for starting caliber. And Reif at 34 is not a long-term solution. I know he's projecting as a starter based on his contract, but it's unclear whether the Patriots are going to play him either at the right or the left, since he and Trent Brown can really play either. So it's kind of a mix-up right now. And even with Brown under contract for 1 more year, you're still not sure if he might end up on the trading block. The New England Patriots have made moves like this before and tried to go with younger options, tried to go with options that have a little bit more of a long-term future in New England. So keep an eye on the tackle position, because I think a lot pre-draft will determine what they're going to do in the draft. And ultimately, Rafe and Brown are both in contract years. They're both on the wrong side of 30. Not going to be surprising to see the Patriots go tackle with their top draft pick. And I think they will do that. Again, folks, just my opinion. Paris Johnson Jr. is the guy that I think everybody wants out of Ohio State. He checks all of the boxes. Speed, ability to block, ability to fend off. This guy basically can do it all, and he is a complete package. Really would fit so well in New England's system, and I think projects very well here. Peter Skoronski's still very high up on a lot of people's lists for Northwestern. He's an option. Oklahoma's Anton Harrison has really started to make his move up draft boards lately. Actually saw a couple of mock drafts over the weekend project Anton as a number 1 pick for the New England Patriots. So keep your eyes out for him. Very speedy, very athletic. Darnell Wright coming out from Tennessee. I like his option as well. He would look great in a Patriots uniform, especially the speed that he shows and the agility that he shows, the athleticism for a guy his size on the offensive line. So those types of players could be Patriots targets. But a lot of the players I've mentioned have been discussed here on the pod previously. Today's mock draft selection submitted by you, the great listeners of Locked On Patriots, really some of the best we've seen so far, folks. Keep them coming. We absolutely love your feedback. The 2 that we've chosen today contain some players that we've yet to discuss here. Yeah, you're going to hear some familiar names, no question about it. But there are also some players we've yet to discuss, and I think it's important to throw all those into the mix as well. So, folks, stick around because Murph is set to hop in here in just a moment when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues. But first, folks, today's episode is brought to you by Ultimate Football GM. Now, you've heard me talk about this mobile game app, and if you ever thought you'd make a great GM, you got to give this game a try. You know, it's not as easy as it looks to build a dynasty. I know, especially after a week of free agency, we're looking at the Patriots and saying, this is what Bill needed to do. He should have done this. He should have done that. A lot of ifs, but it's not exactly easier when you're sitting in that chair. But when you play Ultimate GM, you're going to have the opportunity to control and manage every strategic aspect of your team as you play through the seasons and lead your team to glory by trying to build a historic dynasty like your New England Patriots. You're responsible for everything, hiring the right coaches, coordinators, managing the finances, navigating your franchise through free agency, the draft, injuries, all of it, all in a challenging and realistic game world. Ultimate Football GM is completely free. It's playable offline, so you can play on the go as you want to, when you want to. And here's the kicker, folks. Locked On Patriots listeners, please listen up because you get a 100% free boost to your franchise when using the promo code Locked On in all caps. That's in the game store, so please keep an eye out for that. That's Locked On in all caps, so make sure to check it out today. To download the game, just visit ultimate-gm.com or look it up on the app stores. That's ultimate-gm.com, Ultimate Football GM. Start your dynasty today. Patriots fans, mock drafts may have taken a backseat last week to the free agent frenzy that was about to engulf us all, but they're back this week and they are back in a big way. And because they're back in a big way, we're still doing Mondays in a big way here. It is not just hashtag mock draft Monday. It is always hashtag Locked On Murph Monday here on Locked On Patriots. And of course, it gives me the opportunity to welcome in my good friend, the legendary Connor Murphy Fisto himself, the legendary Thomas Murphy of E2G Sports. And Murph, we missed mock drafts last week. It was definitely something that, we talked a little bit of free agency, definitely did the due diligence of the news of the day, but there was a little bit of a gape there, and I'm glad we're able to bring it back this Monday, my friend.
Yeah, me too. There was a little bit of a hole in my heart. I feel like we connect with our people here, with your people here, not ours, your people here, and it's always a lot of fun. And I found myself zooming around the interwebs on the Bird app, looking for people's mock drafts to go over, just in my head. So no, I'm glad we're back here today on Monday on a mock draft Monday, and we're going to get into it.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get into it, and let's get right into it. Murph, we missed mock drafts so long. We're going to get into it in a big way. And folks, we're about to engulf ourselves into the mock draft that is going to look like a CVS receipt, our friends. Take a look at this one, Murph. Definitely a lot of ingenuity, and I want to give a lot of credit to our good friend, big supporter of the program, John Costi at JohnBC13. It's a little tough to read, folks, but John definitely has the Patriots active in the trade market right off the bat in the first round. Number 14 goes to the Washington Commanders. He gets a little bit of a haul back, gets the first rounders, number 16, and a second rounder at number 47, but he's not done there. He keeps kicking the can down the road a little bit until he finally gets the Patriots at the number 29 pick in the first round, getting some haul back, and you can definitely see that the Patriots put a lot of this draft capital to good use. The first right off the bat, Murph, tackle is a huge position. Obviously, the topic of the day here on Locked On Patriots is mock drafts that are absolutely looking toward positions of need for the Patriots. Tackle is definitely one of them, not very, very highly addressed in free agency. I know there are a lot of Riley Reef fans out there. Yeah. I think he can be very good, but 34 years of age is not a long-term solution. Dwan Jones is definitely a long-term solution at the position if they can get him in the first round or early second.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. Dwan Jones is just a massive human being. This is not a puny human. Okay, he's 6'8", 375-ish pounds, and he plays well for somebody that's his size. He has good footwork. I love me a Ohio State lineman. This was a fantastic pick, and it's wow. This dude with all the trading that he made, he ended up with like 8 picks inside the top 100. I'm going to give him to 107 there, but he started out with a double right here, a triple right here, and grabbing Jones at 29.
Yeah, I got a funny feeling he's about to drive a run in because you've been very vocal on his next pick here at number 46. Darnell Washington, bringing him in to fill the tight endage gap. I know the Patriots went out last week, signed Mike Gesicki, 6'7" as well, Darnell
Yep.
Washington. So you want to talk about two big bookends for the Patriots if they pull this off, be a very sizable tight endage group. Blair
Yep.
definitely like that a whole lot in terms of what he brings to the table because, Murph, this kid is a complement to what Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki do very well,
Right.
which is run routes and catch passes. This kid, one of the best blocking tight ends in the draft.
That's it. We've talked at nauseum, or not us personally, but the talking heads out there have talked at nauseum that the Patriots don't have a blocking tight end. Well, they would right now, and they've got one that can get out into a pattern and create some havoc. There isn't a linebacker on the planet that can keep up with this dude. It's that scary how fantastic of an athlete Washington is. I honestly, I'd be shocked if he was there. Just pure power and technique. His footwork could use I don't want to say an upgrade, but it's something that you can work on. Um, we People like to talk about the fact that there's nobody you have to game plan for. This is a kid that you would have to game plan for. All right. No, go ahead.
No, absolutely. I was just agreeing with you. I absolutely agree with you. It's not often that you say that for a tight end that's a little more prolific in his
Yeah.
blocking technique as opposed to pass catching, where you say you need to actually scheme and game plan for a player like this. But that's how good he is.
There's no
Draft
ball.
Network absolutely
Yeah.
loves this kid. Yeah, they're absolutely. And I'm going to quote directly from his scouting report. Whether drive blocking in the run game or chipping in pass protection, Washington's presence is felt. He can drive defenders off the ball vertically, watch them down the line of scrimmage. Washington operates as the split flow blocker on split zone concepts. This opens up easy access to the opposite flat regions of play action. Folks, to translate, this kid's mismatch ability comes in the ground game when running routes off play action. Over half of his yards come from play action. So when you look at what this kid's able to do in the blocking game, in the passing game, he can be a bit top heavy. That can cause him some trouble when he tries to drive his opponents off the ball. But all in all, if you want a blocking tight end, this kid is it. It's got the size, got the bulk. He could even be an offensive lineman in this league.
Yeah, we've described him as a moving offensive lineman before in the past. He's somebody. Believe me, folks, he's not gonna bust it up the seams and make you gasp in awe with his speed off the line. But this is somebody that runs a decent route. He can run an out route. His wingspan is unreal. If you throw a ball within 5 yards of this man and he's standing there, he can reach out with one hand and grab it, and he often does.
If the Patriots can pull this off, it'd be a huge coup for them in the tight endage room. Murph, another big need, obviously, that the Patriots have now opened up at the time we're recording this anyway, is cornerback, because Jalen Mills obviously is on the outside now looking in New England. And a lot of people are saying now the Patriots need to go after that alpha corner, that guy that's going to be able to bring Jack Jones along, the guy that's going to be able to give Jonathan Jones a little rest, someone who's going to allow Marcus Jones to play more situational football, maybe do some tandem in the slot with Miles Bryant. One of the big things that we hear all the time about the Patriots cornerback room is that it's not very sizable. Most of the players either under or just above the 6 foot line.
Right.
Well, John addresses that here, and he addresses it in a big way, folks, and I mean big in terms of size. Julius Brents of Kansas State, 6'4", 204. You want a sizable corner, folks. This is the guy to go get. But I like the size. I like the length. I love the physicality that this kid plays with. I have some concerns about the top end speed, but I think that can be worked on. That can be cultivated. I really look at this kid just more of a zone corner. He
Right.
fits so well into a cover three or a cover two. Murph, you and I talked about this offline. The Patriots need press man here, and that's not where Julius is at his
Right.
best. I love the player. I'm really going to love watching him as a
Yeah.
pro. I just don't think it's going to be here in New England.
Right. It's not this system. People are all sitting there and they're listening to very educated folks out there that are rightly pointing out that there's not a lot of size out there on the outskirts. And they see Brent and he's what 6'3", 6'4", and they say, "Oh
Mhm.
yeah, this kid is not a press man corner. He's not. He's somebody that can get juked out of his shoes on occasion, and that's in college. Imagine what's going to happen here at the pro level. Uh, I think he's a serviceable guy. I actually think that where he picked him was a pretty decent pick. I'm not sure of any grades
Oh
or
yeah.
anything that they got on him. Where he got him, is fantastic. And you're not going to get that press corner stud at this point. You're just not. They're
Mm.
gone. They're gone. I'm not saying that he should have taken somebody else at this. They're not there. So yeah, he's a good body. He's somebody that can come in here and learn. I like the kid. It's just not a scheme fit. It's really not. He's another zone guy. Bill needs a press man guy out there, and this kid isn't it.
I think Murph and I are right in lockstep when it comes to Julius's fit here. John, I
Yep.
love the ingenuity and I love the pick, and I think you picked him up at a very good spot. I just think that
Right.
in terms of the fit that the Patriots are going to need, they need someone that can come in and play press man off the bat if they're going to want to fill those shoes left behind by Jalen Mills.
Right. You can be slow and be big if you can, hold up at the line of scrimmage, but you can't be slow and big and not hold up at the line of scrimmage. And that's, it's just a combination here that doesn't work for me.
Yeah, I agree with you. And at that point, when you look at the type of fit that he would be, you're probably going to look for the Patriots to fill that void. I have no doubt that they're going to dip into the cornerback room in the
Right.
draft, but it's just going to be, I think, in a different location, maybe even a little bit earlier. Who knows? But the Patriots definitely have their holes to fill. And I think John has filled some of them quite
Yeah.
nicely with tackle and tight end.
No.
Murph, we need some Murphy and wisdom and counsel to tie this all together here. When you look at this draft from top to finish, the best of the rest in terms of what John did, position of need as opposed to player that fits it. Anybody on this list that you're looking at and saying, wow, this one really nailed it. This is a guy I'd love to have.
Jordan Battle at 81, Zach Kuntz,
Mm,
and Michael Wilson out there from Stanford at 89.
mm,
I think the best is yet to come from Michael Wilson. I've grabbed him in many a mock draft, and I wouldn't mind seeing him here in New England. Also, the fact that you know I would really like to see make my day, folks. Linebacker is still a position of need here. Okay, to pay a little attention to linebacker
mm.
earlier in the draft.
No, I agree
Yep.
with you. And I'll be the first to admit, sometimes there are opportunities where I'll look at positions of need. And Taylor Kyles and I talked a little bit about this over the
Yeah,
weekend where
it was a
he
great
said the
show.
middle of that field, thank you very much. No, all kidding aside, in the middle part of that
Yeah,
defense, that's something that Taylor did, advise that needs to be addressed and maybe a little bit of an upgrade there. Who knows? Maybe we've got that in our
maybe.
second draft that Murph and I are going to break down. But before we, how did John Costi do on this attempt? Save for the CVS receipt, like strip in the middle of our screen.
Yeah,
I think he did a solid job here. I'm giving this one a
yeah,
solid B.
it did. He covered a lot of bases here. He plugged a lot of holes. I have to say that with the exception of Jones up there at the top and
Mm,
Washington, uh, he went at this draft the way Bill did free agency. Okay.
mm,
There's a lot of depth here. There are a lot of pieces that could come in and play a small role. And that's honestly, folks, that's been the Patriot way for a very
mhm.
long time, and it's been successful. So who the hell am I? No, I give him a solid B. This is a solid B draft. If it was a 3 round draft, I'd be fantastic with it. But it's not, and there's some good depth here. It's a B draft.
Yeah, that's it. But, when you said "Who the hell am I?" I got Jack Waltz vibes right there. I know almost every big lawyer in New York. Who the hell are you? But no, all kidding aside, folks, I agree with Murph. John, we want to thank you. Tip of the cap now to the gods for sending in a very, very good mock draft. And folks, we have just scratched the surface because Murph and I are about to break down a mock draft that is pretty high up on our list of drafts in just a moment when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues. But first, today's episode, folks, brought to you by our good friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. The tournament is heating up, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, it's secure, it's super easy to use, and then you can bet on everything from the money line to the point scorers to the threes that are drained. And plus, FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same game parlay. So don't miss the chance to get your no sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to fanduel.com/locked on. That's fanduel.com/locked on to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Patriots fans, the legendary Thomas Murphy Fisto himself joins me here today. Thomas Murphy of E2G Sports on the Locked On Patriots podcast, proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And folks, today we are going over your mock drafts for your team. And in the previous segment, Murph, definitely an aggressive approach, a lengthy approach.
Yep.
John Costi, I think, doing a pretty good job. But when we look at the next draft that we're going to break down, because obviously the theme of today's show is positions of need for the Patriots, and we talked about cornerback in the last draft that John submitted. We talked a little bit about wide receiver, tight end, things of that nature, offensive tackle. You had mentioned the linebacker position, and this draft that we're about to bring up is not really robust in that department, but it does address the edge, and it's something that I'm glad that we did here. Let's take a look at it. This is submitted by a YouTube listener, folks, someone that doesn't really want to bother around with social media. I can't blame him there, folks. His name is Bobby L,
Bravo.
last initial L, but Bobby definitely submitted a home run here. I really like this draft from start to finish. So let's take a look at it. Obviously, right off the bat, Murph, we're going to smile at this. Jackson Smith and Jigba coming off the board at number 14. No trades here, Murph.
No,
this guy went
none.
straight and narrow on the Patriots, draft lodger. It's probably not going to happen that way, folks. But for mocks, I think it works well. So Jackson definitely doing a good job here. I should say Bobby doing a good job here with getting Jackson at number 14. He's still, JSN is still my draft crush. I still hold on to hope that the Patriots are going to be able to snag him.
Right.
But with the moves they made, I don't know. Maybe they're looking elsewhere, maybe more defensively. But
I really think that Bill is going to go into this draft if somebody falls into his lap like this move. He could do it. I would be thrilled. I would be doing cartwheels if JSN was ended up a Patriot, because there's your playmaker right there. It's a fantastic pick. I've seen him go much higher than this in the top 10. I've seen him go as low as 20. This is a solid A pick. This is a fantastic move. The Patriots would wide receiver room would get quite crowded and quite talented with this young man in there, because he's just that good.
In the next position, the Patriots go offensive line. They look at the position that we still consider the top position of need for New England. Darnell Wright of Tennessee obviously wowed everyone at the combine with an amazing 40 time, showing a lot of agility for a guy his size, a guy at his position. This would definitely revolutionize the way the Patriots look at the tackle position, but Darnell is solid here. I don't think you can really argue with the pick.
No, you really can't. He's definitely a right tackle, though, in my mind. He's not somebody that's going to be a swing or be able to play on the left-hand side. I've actually seen linebackers piss themselves when this kid hits that gap lead backer. It's fantastic what he's been able to do. He's got good footwork. I really like his footwork. And that's a work in progress. Okay,
Mm,
what I like to do especially when I'm looking at linemen, is watch their progression over the years. And this kid's footwork has gotten better every single year. I don't just look at last year's film. I'll go all the way back and I'll look at what they were doing as a freshman. Even with this kid, I go back and saw what he was doing as a recruit coming out. And this kid was a top 10 recruit in the country.
mm. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And you're grabbing him here at 46, a fantastic, fantastic pick.
Yeah, without any question. And
The
you
only thing I
come from a
question
pro.
is, will he be there?
That's it. I mean, a number 46, that's aggressive, but you never know. The way the cookie crumbles sometimes in the draft,
Yeah.
Murph, does allow windfalls, and we've
Yep.
seen players fall before.
Yeah.
So
I've
we'll.
seen as many as 7 quarterbacks go in the first round,
Yeah,
in expert drafts, in expert mocks. So that pushes everybody down. So
yeah.
I mean, he might not be there at 46, but he could definitely be there at 36, and that's a trade up that we know Bill will make.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, you know what? If Bo Callahan can fall that far in the
Mm,
draft, Murph, who knows? I mean,
bravo. Yeah.
anything is possible. He can get all his picks back, and he wants David Putney because he needs a GD punt returner. Yeah, folks, it's about that time. If you haven't watched it yet, go and watch that movie. Every draft season, you got to do it. You just
Gotta do
have to do it. But in any case, now we're getting into the meaty part of the drafts
Yeah.
for me in terms of the Patriots addressing their defensive backfield. I've been very vocal about my love for Christopher Smith. I know I've
Yeah.
gotten a little bit of guff. People think I'm a little too high on him, but I think, yes, a little bit of a project. I'm not going to deny that, but I think the potential here is for someone that can really be that free safety or maybe even that box safety. He's that versatile, folks, of the future. One guy I wanted to talk about with you, Murph, because cornerbacks obviously are a big position of need, especially with Jalen Mills being released. We talked about it a lot in the
Yep.
previous segment, but Travius Hodges Tomlinson comes up on a lot of mock drafts. We're
Yeah.
submitted, or we see a lot of them, but I think a lot of Patriots fans, or at least a lot of Patriots aggregators, are drawn to this kid because of the comparison to Marcus Jones.
Right.
He's 5'9". He's not going to satisfy the height
Nope.
requirement that a lot of
Nope.
Patriots fans want, but this kid is someone that plays bigger than the position. I know it's
Right.
cliched. I know it sounds canned. He absolutely does. He's a real technician in man coverage. So if you want a man coverage corner, this kid is definitely someone that can
He
lock
is.
down your defender. Physical for his size, very physical. There are issues with missed tackles. He's going to need some coaching there. He's going to need some solid coaching in that defensive backfield. But this kid could be a starter on the outside. The versatility to play nickel corner in the slot
Yep.
as well. I like this pick. I really
I
like
do.
I like the potential here for Tomlinson down the line.
That's it. 4.4 140. We could talk about the Smurfish size that he is. The kid's shorter than I am, but that's okay. So we don't have to raise the ceiling in the DB room. That's fantastic. I am not about height. I am about effort and ability. And this kid puts in the effort, and he has the ability to be a press man corner in this NFL. He does.
Mm,
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Some of the guys that are out there that are 6'4", 6'5", 6'6" are going to give him issues on the outside, but where he's taking him again here at outside the top 100, you can't knock it. You really can't.
yeah.
I'd be fantastic with this at 107.
Yeah, I think the work that Bobby has done here outside the first 100 is really solid
Yeah,
stuff.
really
In
is.
terms of addressing a lot of Patriots positions of need, the tight end Loon Shoemaker, this is another
Right.
solid blocking tight end. If you want to talk about Washington
Yeah.
maybe being one, I really would be very hard pressed to put this kid at number 2 or number 3 in terms of blocking
Yeah.
tight ends in this draft. He's that good at what he does. Very solid. Really can seal the edges. I think blocking may be his best trait overall. Jackson Kirkland, someone we've talked about as a versatile type.
Yep.
He's listed here as a guard, folks, but he can play tackle. He's a tackle
That's
by
it.
nature.
Yeah.
That's a swing position. If I
And
ever
that's it.
saw one.
Right. And we all know how much Bill loves his guys, that he can
Mm.
he can slide in and out at different positions on the offensive line. I wouldn't even put it past Kirkland to be able to snap a ball.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's the type of versatility that Bill Belichick and now Adrian Clem and of course Bill O'Brien are
Yep.
going to want in that offense, especially along the offensive line. Guys that can plug and play. We saw Scar coach these guys so well up here for a number of years. Can Adrian Clem bring some of that into New England? We feel pretty good about that. He did a hell of a job up in Oregon, and I think he's ready to put his imprint and his thumbprint on this offensive line.
No
Murph,
doubt.
you had talked about linebacker. We've got a couple here. Cam Jones going
Yep.
off the board at number 183 from Indiana. And someone I don't think we've talked enough about here on Locked On Patriots because his name is so similar to mine. Mahamoud Diabate, folks. Diabate is actually the Italian pronunciation of my name. Americanized it years ago to debate, but Diabate is actually the Italian pronunciation. I would love
It
to
is.
have someone as close, name relation
I'll buy you
as
the jersey.
possible
I'll buy
by
you the jersey.
by Utah, but these kids can get after it. I think Bobby's addressed this adequately here. I'm not
Yeah.
saying maybe prioritized it, but get a couple of guys in here that can be effective in the middle part of this defense.
That's it. They're outside the top 100, so we're talking about guys that are going to be situational, rotational type individuals. But I think Cam Jones and Diabate are two individuals that are, dare I say, that will make this squad.
Hmm.
And that's not easy to do when you're talking about guys that you're taking, almost at 200 as opposed to almost at 100.
Hmm.
Um, and that's not for a lack of depth or talent at the position. I just think that both these ball players are that good. Also, Ricky Stromberg has been a huge crush of mine going into this. I think he's fantastically underrated, and he should be taken maybe 40, 45 picks sooner than you see him going. Don't be surprised if on draft night he's the one going at 135.
Mm. We saw it last year, but we had a solid third round grade on Cole Strange, and he winds up
Yeah.
going in the first round. So anything and everything is
Yep.
possible with offensive linemen. It depends on what the team is seeing. Beauty is in the eye of the
Right.
beholder, and I agree with you on Ricky
And
Stromberg. And of
wholehearted,
course,
Michael
big
Turk.
showing. Yeah,
Let's
absolutely.
not forget Michael Turk here, man. That's fantastic. This is the first punter that we've had mocked up to the Patriots, and we all know it's definitely a need right now. And Bill will find somebody who can kick the ball. But I like me some Michael Turk.
Yeah, I do as well. This kid can definitely get after it. The Oklahoma Sooners. The Patriots had an opportunity to get a close-up look at him at the Shrine Bowl, and they liked what they saw in his first season as an Oklahoma Sooner. Folks, 51.2 yards per punt. Eight of his 35 punts go for more than 60 yards. 2022 last year punted 63 times, 46.8 yard average in each of his four collegiate years here in first team all conference, while his career average ranks in the top of the all-time FBS punters. This kid can clearly punt for power. I know everyone was enamored with Jake Bailey's ability and his leg. I was as
Yep.
well. Steve and I would constantly talk about how he kicked balls into the
Into the
Foxborough
trash can.
atmosphere that haven't even, and then they haven't even landed yet. But this kid definitely impressive hanging time during his time at the Shrine Bowl.
Yeah.
I like this pick, and I think it's a good way to bring it all together. The final three here: Stromberg, Diabate,
Yep.
Turk. These guys all had showings at the Shrine Bowl that
That's it.
allowed the Patriots to get a close-up eye. When New England is doing hands-on
Bingo.
scouting, folks, it's usually a tip of the cap and a nod to the gods there. So Bobby, I thought this was solid from start to
Yeah.
finish. I'm giving this one an A. I'm giving this one an A minus. I think
I'm
the only
solid
reason why I
A.
put the only reason why I put the minus next to it is because I do think JSN. I think the focus of New England is now shifted in terms of drafting a number one wideout with the first overall pick. But if he's there, I don't think they lay off it. But I really thought this one was phenomenal from start to
Yeah.
finish. Filled a lot of needs here.
This is an A draft. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't pass on that kind of talent at 14. I love me some mocks that don't include a lot of trading, things that you're never going to see, and that's I'm not putting down anybody that has done that. Those we've seen some fantastic, as Mike said, CVS type receipt mock drafts just to steal that. But I mean, at the top, if you just went with the first four picks in this, it is an A draft, and the polls just kept coming.
Hmm.
Kirkland, Cam Jones, Quindell Johnson, who is also an underrated guy that should be in the
Very
top
good point.
150, not closer to 200.
Hmm.
Stromberg, we just talked about. Diabate is fantastic, and Turk. This is this is a solid A draft, one of the better ones that we've seen this season.
Yeah, without any question. And that's the beauty of Mock Draft Monday, Murph, is that the mock drafts that we're bringing in, it's not always about hitting home runs on every pick.
Right.
Although I think Bobby did a really good job here, by
Yeah,
the
he
way.
did.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, I will say that the drafts that we try to bring in fill positions of need, but they also bring up intriguing names, maybe people that aren't talked about as potential
Right.
Patriots picks in a lot of different circles. But names that deserve at least some consideration. We may agree with them, we may not. In the previous segment, Brents was a guy that we both love as a player, but just didn't like the fit here in New
Right.
England. It's all about that. And that's why we always appreciate all of you spending so much time and spending so much energy. It's not just from a viewer perspective, but also from an analyst perspective. You guys really
Yeah.
take the time to make yourselves
it.
analysts here and really take it seriously. And I, for one, could
Bel
not thank you enough for that.
Right. Believe me, there are analysts out there that are not pulling down these kind of drafts, folks.
Mhm.
There are hosts like Mike and I that go home that leave the studio scratching their heads or talk about drafts
True.
for 10 or 15 minutes afterwards, saying, "What the hell were people thinking?" Mike and I aren't doing that. You guys bring it each and every
Yeah,
week. And please
you
keep
do.
doing it because we love doing this show.
Absolutely. And Mock Draft Monday is here to stay, folks. Now we are getting ready for next month's draft, and please keep them coming in any way that you want to submit these. We love featuring your great work, and we love breaking them all down, and we're going to continue to do that each and every Monday here on Locked On Patriots. But what can I say? My partner in crime here on Mock Draft Monday always brings the wisdom and counsel the way only he can. And I'm eternally grateful to you for doing so. But before I let you go today, please let everyone know where they can find you, your great work, and what you have coming in the horizon this week from the great pen, the great voice of Thomas Murphy.
Of course, you can find everything that I do over there at a2g.com. You can follow me on the Bird at TeamEarth207, and we'll just see what tickles my fancy this week. It's probably going to be a little bit more of the World Baseball Classic coverage. I'm going to start breaking down the Red Sox starting rotation this week and see what we have there, and a couple of surprises here and there. You never know. Never know.
Absolutely, folks. And definitely anytime Murph puts pen to paper or voice to microphone, you got to check it out. It's one of the best. And even with the surprises, he'll never, ever disappoint. And he doesn't disappoint each and every Monday. Folks, what can I say? We thank you for never disappointing us in your amazing support. Like I said earlier, it was a very big weekend for Locked On Patriots over the weekend, and we thank all of you for your patronage, for taking time out of your busy schedule to make Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage. We always appreciate it when you make us your first listen of the day. If you've done so, please make your second listen our good friends over at Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes. My good friends, NFL experts Kyle Krabs and Joe Marino take you through what it's like to build a successful NFL franchise every Monday through Friday. Find Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And folks, once again, I thank you for everything that you provide to Locked On Patriots, and we hope to provide you with the same type of satisfaction in return. Until tomorrow, folks, continue to please stay safe and stay well. Be the change you wish to see in the world. On behalf of the great Thomas Murphy of E2GSports.com, I'm Mike Debate. Have a great day, everyone.